Welcome to Treasure Island, the classic novel by Robert Louis Stevenson.
Chapter 26, On Parole. I was wakened, indeed we all were, for even the sentinel shook himself awake from where he'd fallen against the doorpost, by a clear voice hailing us from the edge of the wood. "Blockhouse, ahoy! Here's the doctor!" It was indeed the doctor. Though glad, my joy was mixed. I remembered with shame my insubordinate and stealthy conduct, and now seeing where it had brought me, among these companions and dangers, I couldn't face him. He must have risen in darkness, for day had hardly broken. Looking out from a loophole, I saw him standing, like silver before, up to mid-leg in creeping vapour. "You doctor! Top of the morning!" cried Silver, awake and beaming good-naturedly. "Bright and early, to be sure. George, shake yourself and help Dr. Livesey over. Your patients are all well and merry." Silver stood on the hilltop, crutch under his elbow and one hand against the log-house, exactly like the old John. "We've a surprise for you, sir. A new boarder and lodger, sir. Slept like a supercargo, right alongside of John, stem to stem we was, all night." Dr. Livesey was now across the stockade near the cook, and I heard the change in his voice as he asked, "Not Jim?" "The very same Jim," said Silver. The doctor stopped abruptly, silent for a moment, before continuing, "Well, duty first and pleasure afterwards, as you might say yourself, Silver. Let's see these patients of yours." A moment later, he entered the blockhouse and began his work among the sick. He seemed under no apprehension, though he must have known that his life among these treacherous demons depended on a hair, and he rattled on to his patients as if he were paying an ordinary professional visit in a quiet English family. His manner, I suppose, reacted on the men, for they behaved to him as if nothing had occurred, as if he were still ship's doctor, and they still faithful hands before the mast. "You're doing well, my friend," he said to the fellow with the bandaged head, "and if ever any person had a close shave, it was you. Your head must be as hard as iron. Well, George, how goes it? You're a pretty colour, certainly. Why, your liverman is upside down. Did you take that medicine? Did he take that medicine, men?" "Aye, aye, sir, he took it, sure enough," returned Morgan. "Because, you see, since I am mutineer's doctor, or prison doctor, as I prefer to call it," says Dr. Livesey in his pleasantest way, "I make it a point of honour not to lose a man for King George, God bless him, and the gallows." The rogues looked at each other, but swallowed the home thrust in silence. "Dick don't feel well, sir," said one. "Don't he?" replied the doctor. "Well, step up here, Dick, and let me see your tongue." "No, I should be surprised if he did. The man's tongue is fit to frighten the French. Another fever." "Ah, there," said Morgan, "that come of spoiling Bibles. That comed, as you call it, of being arrant asses, and not having sense enough to know honest air from poison, and the dry land from a vile, pestiferious slough. I think it most probable that you'll all have the deuce to pay before you get that malaria out of your systems. Camp in a bog, would you? Silver, I'm surprised at you."
"You're less of a fool than many, take you all round. But you don't appear to me to have the rudiments of a notion of the rules of health. Well," he added, after he had dosed them round, and they had taken his prescriptions with really laughable humility, more like charity school children than blood-guilty mutineers and pirates, "well, that's done for today, and now I should wish to have a talk with that boy, please." George Murray was at the door, spitting and spluttering over some bad-tasted medicine. But at the first word of the doctor's proposal, he swung round with a deep flush and cried, "No!" and swore. Silver struck the barrel with his open hand. "Silence!" he roared, and looked about him positively like a lion. Doctor, he went on, in his usual tones, I was a-thinking of that, knowing as how you had a fancy for the boy. We're all humbly grateful for your kindness, and as you see, puts faith in you and takes the drugs down like that much grog. And I take it I've found a way as'll suit all. Hawkins, will you give me your word of honor as a young gentleman, for a young gentleman you are, although poor born, your word of honor not to slip your cable? I readily gave the pledge required. Then, Doctor, said Silver, you just step outside of that stockade, and once you're there, I'll bring the boy down on the inside, and I reckon you can yarn through the spars. Good day to you, sir, and all our duties to the squire and Captain Smollett. The explosion of disapproval broke out immediately the doctor left. Silver was accused of playing double, seeking peace for himself and betraying his companions, exactly what he was doing. But Silver was twice their match, strengthened by last night's victory. He called them fools, waved the chart, and asked if they'd spoil the treaty just as treasure was within reach. No, by thunder, he cried. It's us must break the treaty when the time comes. Until then, I'll gammon that doctor if I have to ile his boots with brandy. And then he bade them get the fire lit, and stalked out upon his crutch, with his hand on my shoulder, leaving them in a disarray and silenced by his volubility. Slow, lads, slow. They might round upon us in a twinkle of an eye if we was seen to hurry. He said, the boy'll tell you how I saved his life, and were deposed for it too, and you may lay to that. Doctor, when a man's staring as near the wind as me, playing chuck farthen with the last breath in his body like, you wouldn't think it too much, mayhap, to give him one good word. You'll please bear in mind, it's not my life only now, it's that boy's into the bargain. And you'll speak me fair, doctor, and give me a bit of hope to go on for the sake of mercy. You're a good man and a true. I never seen a better man. And you'll not forget what I done good, not any more than you'll forget the bad, I know. And I step aside, see here, and leave you and Jim alone. And you'll put that down for me too, for it's a long stretch as that. So saying, he stepped back a little way, till he was out of earshot, and there sat down upon a tree stump, and began to whistle, spinning round now and again upon his seat. So, Jim, said the doctor, sadly, here you are. As you have brewed, so shall you drink, my boy. Heaven knows I cannot find it in my heart to blame you, but this much I will say, be it kind or unkind. When Captain Smollett was well, you dared not have gone off, and when he was ill and couldn't help it, by George, it was downright cowardly. I began to weep. Doctor, I said, you might spare me. I have blamed myself enough. My life's forfeit anyway, and I should have been dead by now if Silver hadn't stood for me. And doctor, believe this, I can die, and I dare say I deserve it, but what I fear is torture. If they come to torture me—
Jim, the doctor interrupted, his voice quite changed. I can't have this. Whip over and we'll run for it. Doctor, said I passed my word. I know, he cried. We can't help that, Jim, now. I'll take it on my shoulders, holus bolus, blame and shame, my boy. But stay here, I cannot let you. Jump, one jump and you're out, and we'll run for it like antelopes. No, I replied. You know right well you wouldn't do the thing yourself, neither you nor squire nor captain, and no more will I. Silver trusted me. I passed my word, and back I go. But doctor, you did not let me finish. If they come to torture me, I might let slip a word of where the ship is, for I got the ship, part by luck and part by risking, and she lies in North Inlet, on the southern beach, and just below high water. At half tide, she must be high and dry. The ship! Exclaimed the doctor. Rapidly, I described to him my adventures, and he heard me out in silence. "There is a kind of fate in this," he observed when I had done. "Every step, it's you that saves our lives. And do you suppose by any chance that we are going to let you lose yours? That would be a poor return, my boy. You found out the plot, you found Ben Gunn, the best deed that ever you did." "Silver!" he cried. "Silver! I'll give you a piece of advice," he continued as the cook drew near again. "Don't you be in any great hurry after that treasure." "Why, sir, I do my possible, which that ain't," said Silver. "I can only, asking your pardon, save my life and the boys by seeking for that treasure, and you may lay to that." "Well, Silver," replied the doctor, "if that is so, I'll go one step further. Look out for squalls when you find it." "Sir," said Silver, "as between man and man, that's too much and too little. What you're after, why you left the blockhouse, why you given me that there chart, I don't know, now do I? But no, this here's too much. If you won't tell me what you mean plain out, just say so, and I'll leave the helm." "No," the doctor musingly said, "I've no right to say more. It's not my secret, you see, Silver, or I give you my word I'd tell it you. But I'll go as far with you as I dare go. Silver, if we both get alive out of this wolf trap, I'll do my best to save you, short of perjury." Silver's face was radiant. "Well, that's my first concession," added the doctor. "My second is a piece of advice. Keep the boy close beside you, and when you need help, halloo. I'm off to seek it for you, and that itself will show you if I speak at random. Goodbye, Jim." And Dr. Livesey shook hands with me through the stockade, nodded to Silver, and set off at a brisk pace into the wood.